This little revelation about airborne versus droplet transmission plunged me down the politicised COVID rabbit hole. The timing of events surrounding this pandemic have been startling. So many coincidental dates, such as the 18th of October 2019, when the annual military games opened in Wuhan. That's the same day as the Event 201 tabletop pandemic exercise launched in New York. After President Trump called the virus a hoax, stigmatised masks, held super spreader rallies, and generally wasted time while the stock market ballooned and exploded, he was forced into a humiliating U-turn. Enter his Wuhan flu, Kung flu, China flu phase of pandemic mismanagement. The Trump administration issued a 57-page Blame China manual published by Mike Pompeo's mates on the 17th of April 2020. That's the same day that Australia's Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton and Foreign Minister Marisa Payne did exactly that. They blamed China and started a fight when everyone was supposed to be working together to wipe out COVID. Coincidentally, Oz Prime Minister Scott Morrison had disappeared a few months earlier during the devastating bushfires for a Christmas break on a US military resort in Hawaii. I wonder what he chatted about with his hosts over Mau Tais. Hint, he now works for Trump's former NSA advisor, Robert O'Brien, in the defence industry, as well as the aforementioned Pompeo in a US venture capital firm. And get this, Tedros made his retraction on the 11th of February, 3 days after China's public announcement that the virus is indeed airborne, and only 1 day after President Trump called for a massive 9% or $693.3 million reduction in funding for the CDC, which would have been hard to do if he'd had the added expense of firefighting a highly consequential infectious disease, HSID, as it's categorised in the UK. Remember how Trump dragged his heels while the stock market ballooned precariously and exploded? It took Trump until the 24th of February to request $2.5 billion in coronavirus funding. We know that Trump had pressured the WHO to pin responsibility for the virus on China like everybody else was doing and deflect from his own mishandling of the pandemic. Trump was threatening to defund the organisation. It should be remembered that Tedros's home country, Ethiopia, saw its peace broken later in the year, nearly 20 years of peace. So perhaps the big stick was being wielded when the carrot didn't work.